Hello everyone, how you doing today? Did a little bit more with this modular construction stuff. I guess most of my time was spent finishing up the Transit CH5 though, which I thought was going to be a 2 to 3 hour project that probably turned into 7 to 8 hours, somewhere in there. Wasn't planning on that, but it took a while to complete. As in this modular construction, I did make a couple more parts, well, a few more parts. I added an alternative, more glassy farm section. Basically, it's about the same part, except the ceiling is different. An awful lot more glass in it. And then I was kind of working on these on this connector set over here, and made 3 new parts, and it's an elevator system. So basically, you have a base elevator, or the where it would start going up, and then you have a mid section, and then you have the top section where the elevator goes to. So with these 3 parts, I was kind of testing that to see how it all came out and worked. And not too bad at all, actually. Now, don't mind this gravity generator. I just threw that there so I could walk in here without flying, so I could kind of test it. So as you're clumping through this, and if you build, some kind of modular thing out of this, you can hop up the elevator and then go to another floor. Now, it's a pretty big elevator, and this is a pretty big station altogether. Pretty big parts and areas like that. And one thing that kind of it's scaring me a little bit, because I thought I would check to see what kind of size class I was running on this currently. Now, granted, it's counting all of this stuff plus all of that stuff, but it's frightening. So yeah, I'm up at size class 18 on this right now. So, yeah. Now, a lot of the reason for that is, well, it is a little bigger than it seems, but a lot of the parts I'm using fancy blocks on. In other words, a lot of curvy parts and higher polygon parts, or blocks, I should say. And I mean, even like the bottoms of these areas have a lot of stuff in them. Of course, I was trying to go for like a high level of detail. When you look at this from a distance, especially after texture and if it's lit nicely, I'm trying to make it look, I don't know, as best I can, put it that way. But yeah, my use of all this kind of stuff is really shooting the size class up quickly on this. In fact, that a lot of these connectors and things are, well, bigger than they need to be, and far higher on size class than they would need to be to make this work. But I don't know. I want to continue with the project. I don't want to abandon it because of size class. There's a couple modifications I was thinking about doing to existing parts too, like the edges of the farm. I really feel now that I should wall this off so it has its own door. Other than that, I like the openness, like how it connects to one of these other blocks here, but then again, you're not getting any form of anything being airtight. If there's something gets damaged down the base somewhere over here, your crops would die inside the farm section. So I got to work on that a little bit too, kind of rebuild some walls on the parts and things like that. And one other thing, okay, so the Transit CH5, I just did another update to it this morning. Got some feedback on it, and my ramps didn't work, and there's a couple other issues, so I'm trying to get rid of the bugs and things on it. But just to show you where it's at right now, I think I got gravity here, yeah. So as in the interior, so it came out. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. And I did a couple more like detail passes on it, and I'm just trying to make it look as good as I can. So over here you have your pentaxa tank. I have the warp core shoved back in this little housing over there for it. I've got some passenger seats back here, and little table-like things, and some regular cargo boxes, your shields in the wall over here. And you have your some of this stuff, armor locker and your detector and Wi-Fi and O2 there. In the center, I decided to put like constructors, like a little island. So you got a couple constructors and a couple fridges there. Even though when I laid out all the cargo or the container extensions, they're laid out all the way across the floor and over on this side of the ship and everything like that. But I decided to make it so they all map to one side of the ship. So even though it looks like all the cargo is on this side of the ship, it's not. It should be very evenly distributed. Like I have the ammo on this side, but on this side I've got a few more cargo extensions to balance that off. So it should be very close to being the same weight either side. And the same thing with the Pentaxa tank up here. That's also centered on the ship. So final storage, I've got this at two 32K storage bins and then a 2.5K ammo bin. It has 8 large cargo boxes as well. I've got 2 more passenger seats over here and a couple more cargo boxes, and for the heck of it, I just threw in a second armor locker. So I wanted this to kind of serve a little bit as a troop transport, although it's only got 5 passenger seats right now. I guess if it was laid out a little bit different in here, you could squeeze in a lot more seats and things like that. You have quite a lot of open space on this ship to add stuff. Have a drone hatch up here, and even put in the blinky lights on this one. I didn't put the blinky lights in on the MX-12 because it was more designed for combat and stuff, and little frills like this is probably not useful. Then over here you have your other switches for your thruster RCS and performance mode. The signal logic on this is the same as the other newer ships. So in other words, if this is off, it automatically will shut off performance mode. Like that. So you're not wasting, or you don't have to have them like independent of each other. I definitely like the signal logic better on that. It's kind of what I wanted all along anyway. So moving forward, I will be doing that. And any updates to previous ships, I'll be doing that as well. So as in walking around the ship, you have your cockpit up here. That's about it on the inside. Now on the outside, let me take one of these off the ground a minute. On the outside, I added in a bunch more lift thrust. Yeah, I know it already had 12 of these medium-sized thrusters, but now it has an additional 16 of the smaller 1x3x1 thrusters on it as well. Simply because I put a lot of cargo storage in this. Now comparing it to the Transit CH3, which had 39K storage, this one has 64K storage. And then I was looking at like the lift and things, and I felt it was going to be not enough to lift that kind of weight, being 64K. So on final specs, basically with the performance mode on, it's got 101 on the lift thrust for the storage. Now, how will that work out? I hope it works out good. I really do. I'm not really willing to add any more lift thrust on there, and I was kind of reluctant to even put on the additional that I put on there. But when I was all said and done with the ship, getting it built, it ended up with like 76 over here, and it had 64K storage for an SV, and I just felt that was going to be inadequate. Unfortunately, I thought, originally I was looking at this ship thinking, yeah, this thing's got like twice the lift thrust of the CH3, so I should be able to double it. Well, I guess what I didn't really anticipate is the mass or the weight of this vehicle is about double of what the CH3 is as well. So got to move the ship too, so that's why it's got all the additional lift thrust. And then the whole thing with the gravities, you know, high gravity planets and things like that. Man, there's a huge thing on getting a lot of lift on these ships, especially if they're meant to move cargo. Um, Otherwise, they just do not perform very well. Now, when I have this up to friends only, and it's updated again this morning, and I also threw in kind of a work in progress, the color palette for this scheme here. I don't have the desert tan one there yet. I got to work on that probably later today. And of course, the alternative color scheme for the creels. I have this ship also on the as friends only on my workshop now, so both of those are up there. And I still do plan on getting the Merc light ship and the mech up there soon. Guess I trying to do so many things. It's been sucking up a lot of time, especially when I wasn't planning on nearly 8 hours of working on this ship yesterday. I was planning on about 3. But I wanted to get it done. I do plan on releasing this ship this Sunday, and I should have the other texture packs and or color packs, I'm sorry, released with that as well. So what I wanted to do actually is start building a side of a central module for this project here. So what I did is I spawned an extra one of these connector pieces right now, so I could kind of like build off from that and see. And the first point I wanted to make here is, okay, so this is just temporary, but here is the dimensions of the 7x7 that I've been following as a standard here on this. So basically what I want is I want to make a front piece that fits this, and then I wanted to make, and actually I'll probably just modify what's here. We'll say a couple angled pieces. I'm just doing this Minecraft style right now. Here, let me let's see. So we want 5, 6. Okay, so this would be our 7x7 piece here. All right. So that's one part. And oops. Come on, blocks, cooperate. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now this would be a corner piece for it. Now I originally thought about making these blocks 21 high, but I'm thinking it'd be probably better served if I separated that as well. I think. I don't know. We'll find out. So right now I wanted to do 2 parts. One, a kind of a central area with probably a door on one side and the other 3 sides open. So no internal walls. And then I wanted to do a corner piece that would comply to the 7x7 standard, and keep the 2 inner walls open on that as well. Now after that, I think there'd be another piece that would be up here. Let me just kind of do a loose map of that too. That would angle upward, up 7 blocks. Let's see if I got that right. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, and that piece would kind of slant down over on this side here, and should be able to line up to that there. So that would be essentially 3 parts: a center, one of these, and one of those. But this would allow for construction of a lot of different things. Now what it also would need is side slant pieces. And so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it would have to be 7 from there. Okay, so we're 7. So So this would be another part here. Be a side panel without doorway. Oops. Ah, there we go. All right. And then, of course, just a straight up angled wall, which we already kind of got there. So that's the general pieces I wanted to hit up here. So I guess, let me start on this first one here. The first one I think would be the easiest of them. Now, in my design too, I do have a lot of potential waste in these parts due to the fact that, you know, look at how I got 2 blocks on the floor here and things like that. But I don't know. I guess it's a balance between function and looks. I guess I was kind of shooting a lot for the looks part. You know, it will have function, but it's just gonna be pricier than it probably needs to be at this point, at least. Maybe I can cheapen up some of these, and I don't mean necessarily like resource costs on a huge bunch. It's just a lot to do with these fancier blocks that shoot up size class quickly. All right, so here. First thing, it needs to go into a wall that's kind of flat here, which it kind of already is, but I don't like such an abrupt, blah looking surface here. So I'm trying to think on what I could do to try to make that look better, since it would be the front edge. Let's replace what I've got there for now. And man, you know, maybe I ought to start with the angled blocks. I think that'd be a better idea. So try to figure out how these work. Okay. So let's take this part here, and this is just kind of going at a 45 right now. So I prefer the 22.5 angles, but I think for just getting this to function right now, I want to start with the simpler of the two. So let's just say we did something like that there. I'm just going to kind of map that out on the bottom here too. Alright, so this is about as basic as you can get. Too basic though. Gosh darn it, too basic. Okay, so let's try to fancy this up a little bit. How about doing a bevel in a little bit on this part, and trying to keep the looks of the frame. What I'm actually thinking about doing is I'll bevel it in, but also keep like a half block lip here. So then that will kind of like make this area stand out, looking like it's part of the framework that I've been trying to put in here in the first place. So here we'll start with getting some of these in, so they line up to that block's position. I'm missing one here. Okay, and something like that. Okay, now I don't want to go too far with it in. So now let's go back to these. Say for now we go to there. If I can make some kind of uniform spacing too, that would be nice. Maybe get some windows or something in there. Okay, so then we want to reverse what we did here. Okay. do with the windows? Well, maybe not windows yet. Okay. What if I instead had this kind of come out a little bit in between here? Something like that. And fill in these parts. Alright. Okay, that's just basic. Yeah, we could probably always try to find ways to get some more detail in there somehow. Now what I do a lot too when I'm building and is I like to put it in this like gray box look, so it's just easy to see, I think. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just do a mask replace texture, hit it with like just a solid, and then I do the same thing with color, and usually just go to the kind of your medium gray, and then you got the same look across the board here. Very quick and easy to do. Okay, so the top parts. Let's see. Again, at the 45. Not my favorite, but for now. Start replacing some of these. So, what can be done here? Again, I want to try to leave that like a half block out, similar to what the bottom part was. So, how would I do that on this angle? It could be a little bit tricky, actually. Okay, that's probably not going to work. No. That would pitch at the wrong angle. There's kind of a missing part for this on the 45s, actually, I think. Like if I get to here, I don't have my bevel that I wanted. It will work, but I want to have it try to be indented by that half block, but I'm fearing that I won't be able to do it at this angle. There's this. And I can try that, but here's where the breakdown takes place. I don't believe there's a block that would continue with that same slope that fits here. Unless I'm mistaken. But I tried to do this before and I failed. I could not find a way to pull that off. I mean, there's stuff like this, but this actually is like a 22.5 degree angle. And they're just, unless I'm missing it, and there's a lot of blocks out there, but I don't think I am. So I'm going to have to abandon that idea and just keep it without the indentation, I think. Of course, if anybody has a solution for that, but yeah, let me know on the comments or whatnot. I'd appreciate it. But I haven't found a solution for it myself. But maybe there's other ways we can spiff this up. So basically that, and this part here will make that shape. Now, I mean, there are other things that could be done here though too. So maybe I'm gonna try to do a indentation a little bit differently here, and we're gonna get to this. And then back in this area, the slice corner D here, followed with the cut corner C. And we can kind of do that sort of bend there, I guess. And now what I'm thinking is to maybe just keep that line there. And this could be, again, an opportunity to add some glass or something like that. Oops. There we go. That. Okay. So, just to see how this would work with glass. And there we go. It's a bit basic. It's a bit basic, yeah. No doubt. Alright. So this part here. Don't really want to just follow the same slope all the way again. I kind of want to break it up. So I'm thinking maybe to start it at this. And then do similar to what was done over on the other part there, where it folds in. I actually would have to fold in two. And then let's say we had a lot of this would get changed, but so we have that, and then we continue with this angle up top here. Basically to match the same pattern that's over on that side. Except I screwed up the edge here. That needs to be this. And again, we could add some glass. I've just been using kind of some of the older windows right now. I still like the old ones. I like what you can do with all these new pieces. I have been trying to use those in places. Now, one of my design styles too, that I typically do, and if you notice, most all my creations, I never have two-story windows, and I don't like the looks of two-story windows, to be quite honest. Like for instance, if the glass here went up another row, so it was like a double high window. And I've done that before, especially in Minecraft. I built some buildings and stuff, you know, in Minecraft back in the day. Good times. But anyway, I found that the buildings will look taller, and I generally like this shape better for windows than if I had like a double window high, unless it was for a very unique spot. But I think that has a sleeker look to it, and that's why I don't like to do two-story windows. Now, you're forced to sometimes with making, you know, cockpits and bridges on ships and stuff like that for visibility purposes. But general rule, I don't like to do that more than that. All right, so that's two of the parts. I guess this other part, there isn't much to it at all, but it does need to connect with this piece. And yeah, like I said, this is a really basic part so far. Alright, so on the insides, need to make this a little prettier too. What blocks can I remove? Quite a few. A lot of times when I build stuff, I'll do like this initial like little frame like what I did here, but then I have to, you know, determine all the blocks I can remove that no longer need to be there. And I screw up, and that undo button is awesome that I didn't know about prior. needs to have a block there. It doesn't have to be that one though. And across here too. And for now I'm gonna, okay, now that can go too. What about here? Okay, those need to stay. This row on the very tip. Well, let's just leave that one for now. Okay. Alright, so now to make this prettier on the inside, let's try a bevel here. I can't alter that block, I can only alter this block. I think I can get away. I can't use, oh, I don't want to anyway. What was I thinking? Okay, I would have to be at that angle, but I would have to use the full one. Okay, and this piece actually stops. Uh-oh. My window isn't evenly spaced. Oh, that's because this goes out too far on the one side. I see. This needs to be fixed real quick here before I move on. Okay, that should be at that angle then. And glass can go back in place there. Okay, so then that would work out better. Now we got the 5 space in here, not 6. Alright. So this is actually kind of gearing up to have like a second floor, at least with how the glass lines up. Kind of like that idea. Might get a little trickier, but we'll see how that works out. This would actually need to come out to this edge. Okay, no, this would be part of the next part. Let's just not deal with that right now. So this part is only here and here. Technically doesn't need to have that there. But it could have something. I don't use these kind of things much. Like a squarish corner piece, but that might be appropriate for this build. And also, this is going to have to be filled in at the edges of the glass. You know what? I think it might work out better if I just went and didn't bevel that in and just used a flat block here. Half block. Alright, so this wall here. Again, looking for opportunities to make it a little bit different. And also I've been trying not to use so many curvy parts here. It doesn't really work so much for this area anyway, but um, you know, just trying to keep that size class a little bit more in check. I certainly do like curvy parts. Let me just see what, like, one row curvy parts there. And then we'll just make this other part kind of basic, I guess. So now this also needs to come in one more block across the top here. And probably ought to have something like that. So technically this part could be reused for that other side over here too, so I don't technically have to build this piece out. In fact, I'm not gonna. So we'll just kind of keep that there for now. Well, now let's just get rid of it. Alright, so bottom side. Well, this is meant to go down to more of that stuff there. Alright, well, final tweak here. Let's just finish off this for now. And ceiling, I think I'm going to do similar here for the floor to get a little bit of looks in there. To use something like that across here. And then this. Let's see if I can make that. Oh, that's going to suck though. Yeah. If I do that, I'll have a gap in the floor. Let's try a different approach. Do something with these blocks. And then maybe try to. Still gonna have the gap problem. Alright. Now one block I really wish this had, and it would be a weird block, no doubt, but this block's really cool. The problem is I want a block like this that where the top section here actually goes into a square. I've had a lot of usage for that, because what I could do is like lay something like this across here and then have this bevel but also have a half block ceiling, which I can't quite do. So when it all comes down to it, I don't have many options whatsoever to make this floor look better than what it is, and try to keep a you know, it's solid up on the top side, so it doesn't have like gaps and things like that in there. But I so want to try to make it look like there's a frame piece here. So okay, try something else. Put a couple of these in the corners, and then go half block around here, and try to figure out what to do with these blocks. Really, God, it still isn't going to work right. And yeah, this would kind of detail the block that I'm actually would like to have. Where the closest one to that, and it fits mostly, is this one, but then I've got that cut out there. And there isn't another block that would work. So yeah, man. Always trying to do this kind of stuff, but sometimes it's just really, really problematic. So I don't think there's much I can do here except put in full blocks. On the inside here, I can at least do something. Here, let's go with these. That even made this part look worse yet. So let's get rid of those. And what could go there besides a full block? Again, not really sure. Could try one of these. Oops. Guess that works. Alright. So then here on the inside, guess just a basic block right now. Floor there. Probably ought to have definitely need a floor on this row. All right. Floor space. I'm just gonna fill it in. I'm not gonna try to mess with making that prettier right now. Let's reverse bevel this out, at least, so it kind of angles out a little bit on the floor side. Okay, so we've got kind of a weird setup. Alright, well, we need a floor here, so this I can actually, I think, leave some definition, easy enough to, like, show the beams, I guess. Of course, I'm also trying to cap these pipe ends off too, so I think that'll work. Okay, a couple curves there, and then say this block got replaced with that one. So these inner parts here, maybe just follow the same contour here right now. Ooh, no, that doesn't work out so well. those blocks. One of those. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Okay. About that. Oh, but no, I got the wrong angle here. Nope, not that. This. Alright, so now that should line up correctly. Alright, let's just build a floor out here a minute. Now, a lot of these parts are probably going to get tweaked as well. Like I'm finding problems and fitting and things like that. But basically what I'll do is I'll go through all the master parts and fix those. The assembly of this stuff is actually pretty quick in comparison. So as long as your main parts are decent. Alright, just a couple more things. So let's see, that can go. Let's just put in a basic wall here. Fill in a little bit more floor here. Actually, it's probably the wrong block I used for that then. Let's try one of these. I do this with pretty much like all the ceilings and stuff now. It's just trying to build them so they've got, I don't know, framework and stuff, or appear to have something like that in there, at least. I'm not so sure what's going on here with this little upper floor here. It's not really a floor. And this is kind of a mess over here too. Too far over. I guess for now, just fill that in. This, I guess, could be used for something, especially if this floor was more tweaked out. I want to test these parts to see how they're going to work together. So I'm just going to fill this area in for now. Yeah, I know you can. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Just kind of stretching that out. That was the left control key I was hitting for that. expand it out. All right, so couple new basic parts, not really too detailed at the time, but you know, I believe they would also be lower towards size class too. I mean, they're still using a couple curvy parts, but not like I did with these other pieces, which are using an awful lot. All right, so now we want to select these things and add them in the list. Now, one other thing I learned too, and I was worried about, I respawned this how it sits now, and it remembered all of my parts that I had selected. So I was worried that it was going to forget those. It didn't. So that makes this whole project a little more feasible too. All right, so we're going to want to select, let's start with this top piece here. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so the top piece starts there. Goes to here. Did I go one past it? Yeah. Alright. So we don't have to copy it or anything. All we really have to do is just go over here and save to list once it's selected and give it a name. Oh geez. What did I call this? Okay, let's call it center main. Oh man, I don't even know what to call this thing. Okay, top. Okay, let's call all these central, as in like that's a central part of a station, and we'll call it central top wedge 1. I have noticed if you use numbers when you're doing this, they seem to be active and it flips your numbers of your current equipped stuff too. No big deal. Okay, so we've got that one. So now let's take this box. Since it's uniform in size, we'll just drag it over to the side here, which would be there. And central top wedge corner. Oh, too many letters. Okay, C. C is corner. Yeah, maybe I'll try to rename some of this and come up with a little better naming scheme, but right now it's kind of like it is. Okay, so then we got the third part here, which starts there, I believe. Central side wedge 1. Okay. Remove selection and the parts. Got them all nice and labeled, sort of. Okay, central, 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 central. Okay. Let's grab some of these now. Let's say, let's get this incorporated on the stuff over on the other base somewhere. Okay, see if I can build right off from there with it. Oh, I didn't get the middle piece yet. Whoops. Okay, so we want this one first. So I might as well just copy it and paste it. We'll move that over to the test construction area. Okay, so it would want to be that way. Yeah, I know this is pretty, not quite as pretty as the other parts, but a little quicker, I suppose, too. Okay, so you should line up to there. Ew, that is pretty ugly-ish, so going straight onto that piece. Oh, and it should be up a block, though, too. Yeah, it should be at that height. No. Probably look cooler if I had a connector piece in there first. In fact, okay, screw it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Just build it off from this side over here. Okay. So now we want central side top wedge. Okay, let's grab one of these. Copy, paste. Oh, nope, wrong one. That's for my naming schemes. Wedge, okay, top, central top wedge. This one then, right? That one. Alright. Let's paste you. Let's try to have fun with these parts too. Another one here. Paste, paste. Another one over here. Okay. Now we want the other part. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. There goes my tool. I don't know if you've ever done that. Sometimes, you know, when I have a lot of keys on the keyboard, I guess the default keys, I tend to occasionally have my fingers positioned incorrectly and then throw out an item I'm using. Oops. It's kind of like rotating the blocks too. It really is. In fact, a lot of these are similar shapes to the blocks. Yeah, I am realizing too, you can just move the box. I don't have to hit copy right then and there again. But if you do darn it, did it again. If you do paste it, you have to do it twice because the first time kind of puts it in there so you can see it again, but it's not actually there. If I were to close down this, it would be gone. But you have to paste it a second time for it to actually stick. Okay. And okay, let's grab another one of these other ones here. I think I can just do it really quick because I got one here already. So copy, paste, rotate you around. So I'm just testing, I'm just throwing a bunch of these out here. So paste, paste. Okay. Well, that's pretty much all working. Now we've got that other piece, the sidewall one. And that was, yeah, I would totally need to come up with a better naming scheme on these things. I don't know what I'm dealing with here. Top wedge, side wedge, middle door. Okay, it would have to be this one. Yep, okay. Alright. Okay, now the big test. I want to do one other thing here, and we're going to, I'm just going to make sure I got that truly pasted. Okay. And then we're going to go back to the list, and I want to grab top wedge corner C1, I believe it is. Select that. Now what I want to do is reverse it. So we've got an angled wedge on the bottom side. Okay. And then, what else would we need? See, I didn't build like a generic sidewall piece, so I don't have a part for that, but I could put one of these on the bottom side there too. And let's see, where side wedge. I believe so. No. Yes. No. I need the top wedge. Yeah. So one thing that is working right though is the keeping these uniform to the same size pattern. Um, Basically, you could kind of like recreate the blocks that are there that, obviously fit together to make all these formations. Just make bigger pieces for them, and then plug them together. And I think that's it. Yeah. So just a test. So now, I mean, complications and, looks aside, of course, what I really ultimately want to do is get like some kind of big round disky thing going on. And I'll have to work on that too and figure out how that's going to work. But I wanted to start out a little basic, a little more basic at the time, just to see how this would kind of come out. Obviously, need a part there. And I also, some of this too is to see what the interior space actually looks like when you do all this. I can't say it's optimal by any stretch. It's just something, some lessons I'm learning on this project to see, how would I really want to do it to make it efficient and kind of optimal for interior space and the floors lining up right and things like that. And that's where I'm a little off on this. But I'm learning. Oh, I see. And little glitches like what I've got here, like there's a block that shouldn't have been there. However, I mean, when you look at the total size of this place, it's, and I'm not even trying to make it pretty or the layout nice or anything like that, but yeah, that would work. That would work. Could actually put in like maybe a larger side piece for like a hangar door and make this like a big open room too if I didn't want to put in all this floor stuff in here, which this is, I don't like to have floors that are 1 block high. I really don't. I mean, you can kind of make them look alright if you chop away a lot of the ceiling and use really thin blocks up there. Maybe even carve away some of the floor. You can kind of expand the perceived space in the room, but it doesn't work out good for a lot of parts and, other things that you'd want to put in there because a lot of things can be 2 blocks tall. But anyway, there you have it. And that's pretty much all the updates I've got for today, and a little bit more work done on this. But I need to refine a couple blocks. This stuff here I kind of wanted to mess with a little bit more too, and maybe remove some of these inner floor pieces on the I guess you can say the masterpieces that are over here, or the and just to take a look at the size class again. Okay, so I did hit 19, but I didn't add a lot from the new parts. The old parts added a lot quickly. One interesting thing too is, can you guess how many farm plots are in this thing? I didn't add any more right now and consider this part of it, but I was a little surprised. Obviously it's got these 2 farm modules over here, kind of stacked up one over the other. And then there's a smaller one here, and then the 3 blocks over here that have the farm test pieces in them. But total farm count is 828 grow plots. So yeah, you could do some pretty serious farming already. All right. Well, anyway, y'all have a good day. I might have a video either tomorrow or Friday. Probably Friday, because I want to get some more work done on this project. Take a look at that POI killing CV tripod thing, and maybe try to get some more progress done on this and fix up a couple of my parts. I also kind of wanted to look at some of the parts and try to optimize them better, so they don't suck up the size class so quickly or waste as much. So I might have to do a little bit of changes to some of this stuff. But it's kind of cool. I mean, geez, man. Once this is actually done and working, you'd be able to build some really pretty big, massive structures that would actually work in game quickly. And since it saves all of this information with the blueprint. And I hope that carries across to the workshop. That is something yet to be tested. But then I could, people could put out just a set of parts, maybe with like a little instruction video on how to assemble these parts to make their own places, however big they want it or expensive. I mean, I could I could probably shoot up to a size class 100 something or other doing this. I mean, just start copying stuff and places all over the place. That'd be cool. Neat to fly around. Probably neat to look at when it's all textured and pretty, and if we can get it in a decent lighting environment. With the same base too, I'm also on the bottom side. I think I said before I left a block spare, and the idea was I might try to get some feet on a lot of this stuff, so it could be ground based as well. Now obviously a connector like this probably wouldn't be the hot ticket for ground stuff, but a lot of these other things could be. All right, see you later all.